Pregame.com.
Atlanta's playoff hopes on the line Thursday night, NBC. This is Brett Powers, Pregame.com studio. It's just off the Vegas Strip. We've got a key divisional battle in the NFC South. We got the Saints at the Falcons. Fez, who do you like in this matchup and why?
I am on the Atlanta Falcons, the Dirty Birds, plus 1.5. It's all about line value here. Atlanta on the look-ahead line. Last week, you could have bet them. You would have had to have laid -3. Now, it's a Black Friday sale. Atlanta, you get them. I guess the game will be over already. It's a Black Wednesday sale with the Atlanta Falcons plus the 1.5. It's all about the line value there, an overreaction to 1 week's worth of data. Atlanta was playing the Minnesota Vikings. Hey, they were laying 2.5 to 3 in that game. It was an evenly played game. They lose 14-9. The Saints play a solid game. And because of 1 week in the NFL, we have seen a 4-point line move way too much in this game.
Yeah, and Atlanta not having as good a season as last year, 7-5, but they're still solid as far as the stats department goes.
Yeah, you throw a blanket over both these terms in terms of the stats, both at the very top of the NFL. The metric we use, yards per play, differential, both teams at a +1. So Atlanta's gaining about 6.1 yards per play. They're giving up 5, and their opponents here gaining 6.4 yards per play, giving up 5.4. Two equal statistical teams.
So what's been the difference? Red zone efficiency between the two teams?
It's been a big part of it. You look at Atlanta, they're only scoring 55% of the time touchdowns when they get in the red zone. Their opponents here are scoring 60%. And let's look at that red zone efficiency last week against Minnesota. 14-9 final score. Well, Minnesota gets 2 scoring drives. They punch in 2 touchdowns. Atlanta has 4 scoring drives, 3 field goals, and 1 missed field goal. Pretty darn equal game. In fact, I could argue Atlanta more scoring opportunities.
Yeah, and let's face it, we're towards the end of the season. A lot of teams banged up, but Atlanta, it looks like in this instance, getting healthier for this game.
Absolutely. So the running back Freeman was in concussion protocol. He's back. He's fine. They have a cornerback Trufant. He's going to be back and healthy. Now Ingram, one of the running backs for the Saints, not at 100% with a toe injury.
Your second key handicap.
Motivation. Atlanta is all in here, 7-5. They need the game like blood, but it's not hopeless. If they run the table, they win their last 4 games. And remember, they're in the Super Bowl last year. They win the division. They don't just make the playoffs. They clinch the division. They control their own destiny, and I really feel that they'll be all in this game.
Yeah, and on the flip side, contrast with the Saints, just finished off a season sweep of Carolina. This is a game where it doesn't mean much to them. They can lose this one and still be in good shape as far as the division goes.
Yeah, and you mentioned the game against Carolina. Well, the week before, they were at the Rams, so they played 3 tough games against contenders in the NFC, this being the 3rd game. And it's easy for them, I think, to look ahead and say, you know what? All we got to do is beat these guys. They're 2-0 against Carolina now. So we just have to beat Atlanta when we host them, and we're going to win the division. This is not a game they absolutely need to have.
And again, contrast that with Atlanta, who's played 3 straight home games. Great spot here. Love this pick. Let's make it official.
Great spot on Thursday night for Atlanta. Atlanta plus 1.5 has solid value. The look-ahead line last week was Atlanta -3. The markets have overreacted to last week's results. And the Falcons have more motivation. Atlanta is 7-5. They need this game like blood. The 9-3 Saints do not. Atlanta plus 1.5. More videos, pregame.com.